All right, welcome back to ABA Exam Review and the continuation of our 6th edition BCBA Task List series. Today we're continuing selecting and implementing interventions with database decisions about the effectiveness of the intervention and need for modification. This one is about as straightforward as it comes. When we have our intervention, we're obviously taking data, our team is taking data, and we're making choices and decisions on how these interventions are going and if we're effective or not based on that data. We don't base our decisions on hunches or feelings or client report or stakeholder report. Although those things do aid and assist, ultimately we're making decisions based on data. So we're going to talk today about what we're looking at, making these decisions, and how we can go about making those modifications. As always, please like, subscribe, and share. Check out behavioranalyststudy.com for all of our study materials. When you pass, let us know. Work hard, study hard, and let's get going. Now, as an analyst, we're going to evaluate the effectiveness. Remember, being effective means we're making meaningful change through systematic visual analysis of graphic data, not through subjective impressions or staff reports. When we have our graphed data, what we're looking at and what we're using is visual analysis. That is the statistical analysis we use in ABA, meaning we're looking at the data path between conditions, looking at variability and level change and trend, and making decisions based on that. Importantly, we have to have a baseline, right? We are evaluating change compared to our pre-intervention baseline. Without a baseline phase, we don't know where we started. So when we have our graph, we need to know where did that behavior start. If behavior starts here and we change conditions and then our behavior starts doing this, well, that is an increasing trend. And depending on our goal, that's going to be either good or bad. That's really what we're looking at. And one of the advantages of the single subject design is we can use the client as their own control, which can make visual analysis very straightforward. Then we have to think about internal validity. Are we the ones changing behavior, or is there another confound in the environment? Remember, we want to be sure we're controlling the behavior, because if we're controlling the behavior, then we can continue to make it stronger and help with generalization and maintenance. If there's a confound or an environmental factor that's controlling the behavior, then we have a lot less say in how that behavior is going to generalize and maintain down the road. Finally, we've got to be free of bias, right? If we use a systematic method of analyzing graphs, we're going to take away the bias from us, from our staff, from the parents, and we're going to just think about what do the data show? Because the data are going to tell us what's going on in that session. And we've talked about treatment fidelity and why it's important that treatment's implemented and measurements done correctly, because all our decisions are based on data. And so if we're not implementing correctly, we're not measuring correctly, the data are going to tell us the wrong story. Very, very, very important. Our data are telling us the right story. So what is visual analysis? It's simply looking at 4 critical dimensions of graphed data. First, the level. So the average, basically, of the data points within a phase. So if I have a graph and my behavior starts here, we go to a condition, right? And so let's say my level is here, right in the middle. My data then decreases somewhere here, and my level changes. We can look at this level change and see how big that mean or median change actually is. We can then look at the trend, which is typically the easiest to evaluate, right? Which way is the data path going? Is it improving? Is it worsening? Is it an upward trend, a downward trend, or a flat trend? Okay. Now, visual analysis, there is a level of subjectivity to it. And so you've got to be sure when you're looking at a graph And if you're not sure, let another behavior analyst look at the graph, because what you don't want to do is see something in the data that isn't actually there. We then want to look at variability, right? So how much the behavior is fluctuating. So if I have a behavior that after baseline is all over the place, right? It's up, down, and there's no real trend, and it's extremely variable. We're lacking something, right? We're lacking control of that behavior. There's something in the environment or something in our intervention where the behavior is just not repeatable, it's not steady, it's not consistent. And then immediacy. How quickly does the behavior change following the introduction? Our treatments are always organic, right? We can change them whenever something isn't effective. What we want to avoid is waiting months and months because we have some sort of flat data trend from baseline, right? If behavior just continues to do this, there's no change, right? And if we wait for, let's say, 4 or 5 weeks and then suddenly the behavior shifts, well, there's a lot of reasons that could have been other than our intervention. So we really want to see, even if it's a small change, we want to see a change relatively quickly. That way we can eliminate confounds like maturation and history. Point being, we're trying to control the behavior. Data will tell us the story. If we focus on these 4 key items, you're going to get really good at visual analysis, and then you're going to be able to explain to stakeholders what it is you're looking at when analyzing the data. Now, what happens when we need to modify the plan? Well, when we see data patterns that say our plan is not working, we're going to have to try something different. So let's say we have a flat trend line, okay? The intervention's been implemented, there's integrity, we've going on 2 weeks, nothing's changing. We have to reevaluate. Is the treatment not right? Is the function wrong? What did we miss where we see no change whatsoever? What about excessive variability? So data path resembles some sort of roller coaster, some huge swing in behavior, nothing steady. What's going on in the environment changing this behavior? Or maybe your reinforcement schedule is unstable, right? Maybe on some days the client is working for reinforcement and we're getting that good consistent behavior, and on other days either the motivation isn't there or reinforcement isn't there and the behavior is just not responding how we want it to respond to our discriminative stimuli. And then trend reversal. So let's say the behavior initially improved but then goes back to baseline or worse. Could be ratio strain, could be satiation, could be a change in the function of the behavior, maybe the topography changed. These are 3 key patterns we want to look for when analyzing data. There is no rule of thumb on how long we want to go before we start modifying, right? That's going to be kind of up to you. But it's really a good rule of thumb anyway to at least supervise twice a month, right? Supervise a client twice a month, if not more. So almost every 2 weeks, we should be evaluating these things. And if it's been 2 weeks, we see no change or a reversal, that's usually a good indication that we need to modify or check that everything is going smoothly. So how do we modify these? Well, it's going to be orderly and scientific, right? We're going to do this the same way we designed our intervention. We're not just going to start changing things on a whim. We're not going to change a bunch of things at once, because if we change multiple variables, we're not going to know what really caused the effect or caused the change following the adjustment. So we can isolate the variable, right? We can change one component of the intervention at a time. So maybe the reinforcement schedule. Changing the type of prompt is typically very simple, okay, very quick. We can also alter the motivating operation. Again, changing multiple things at once. If I change my reinforcement schedule and I implement a new prompt, well, which one is actually increasing behavior? Address motivation, right? Motivation, very key. What are the establishing operations? What is the value of the reinforcer? Do we need new preference assessments? Do we need new reinforcer assessments? And then adjust your reinforcement parameters. What's our schedule look like? So just like we have our 4 keys in visual analysis, evaluate these things first. Your reinforcement schedule, right? After Fidelity is evaluated, of course. Reinforcement schedule. What does the prompting look like? And is there motivation? Those are the three things you want to check first. And then analyze the environment and dig a little deeper. But those are the three quick checks on your intervention. And if all those things are where you want them to be, now we can dig a little deeper into function and environment. And then finally, let's plan for mastery and phase out, right? We're not just fixing failures, quote unquote. We're not just changing behavior. We're trying to make behavior change permanent for the long term, right? And this behavior change needs to happen across all environments, across all possible situations the client can be in. It needs to generalize, it needs to maintain. And so we need a plan for this. So what is your clear mastery criteria? And don't just put 80% for everything, okay? It might not always be 80%, but we need a goal. And then, how are we going to thin our schedule? How are we going to thin reinforcement? How are we going to fade out the intervention? What is your plan there? Finally, systematically fade everything out. Eventually, you want the intervention gone. And occasionally, you're going to check for maintenance of the behavior you changed. Yes, you can track generalization and maintenance data. I encourage it. That's database decisions. I think this is a really good topic here, and you've got a lot of key ideas you can take from. With H, a lot of it is more open to interpretation, right, than other things. H7, I think you can find some very good key points here to take away when you're evaluating your intervention. Think about those 4 keys of visual analysis. Think about those 3 major things you're looking for when analyzing an intervention. As always, check out behavioranalyststudy.com. Let us know when you pass, work hard, study hard, like, subscribe, share, and see you soon.